citizen who has been appointed as an ambassador of another country with a dual citizen that is not recognized in the US.
She renounce her US citizenship?
Well, if she wants, she can, but the price is high. What if she's sacked or recalled? Where does she go?
And here is a question here.
Yes.
We have the whole debate of a state officer and a public officer. If someone is an ambassador, is he or she a state officer or a public officer?
A state officer.
State officer.
Yes.
Prof?
Yes, it is an issue that needs judicial interpretation, because the language of the Constitution, in the absence of statute or within the statute, is actually phenomenous to some kind of mischief.
Okay.
It is the courts to sit down and actually draw the line, because if a state officer is appointed by the executive, and an ambassador is also appointed by the executive, where do we draw the line? Kenya is the only country where anyone can be an ambassador. But in other countries, you must have that professional line in you. In the United Kingdom, you cannot be an ambassador if you are not a career diplomat, or if you have not actually satisfied the scope of scrutiny.
You believe Kenya do you believe that Kenya is the only country where anyone can be an ambassador?
But that's how it is.
Wow.
Yeah.
You can be a...
You know, when we want... you see, we live in this country, and this is our home. And we just say things the way they are. Because actually, like he's putting it, ambassador position in this country is not a professional position. As in, it is not actually, doesn't matter what profession you have gone to pursue to be given a position of, to be ambassador. So anyone who has been purported or seen by the appointing authority
or anyone in the executive
to befit that position will actually get that position.
Yeah, that's why people like us will never accept those kind of positions. If you appoint me to be the Kenyan High Commissioner to Britain, what are you going to do to me? I have never done diplomatic, what have you, unless you are appointing me to go and sing your music.
Professor, unless you don't want a job. You know, this is a country where jobs are scarce. So how would you refuse taking a job?
Employment.
Yes.
But madam, I'm doing my second PhD. That itself is a job for me.
Yeah.
And I love what I do.
Yeah.
Unless we agree, like somebody came to me the other day and they said, Professor, we would like to appoint you. I said, what? To be the chairman of TADA. I said, what is TADA? He said, Tana River. I said, but don't you have somebody there to be the chairman? Do you have legal work there? I said, no, thank you.
You
I
don't
am
accept
contented.
Any nomination
For what?
any position in this country?
Maybe for cabinet secretary, I will think over it. but not going
That
to...
tells you it's just a class issue.
It's an issue of class.
It's a
No,
class
but there I
issue.
serve my country
Strata.
diligently. But what am I going to do there? So that I need permission from my PS when I want to go and see my kids in London? Then I have to be subjected to some kind of recklessness, signing some codes of misconduct, not conduct? No, sir.
He's entitled to.
He's entitled to his opinion.
Yes,
Can you accept the position of an ambassador if you're nominated?
Let me say, do you know the problem I have? Okay, unlike Professor, I'm not one who is I'm not actually a person who would like to live outside Kenya. I can only visit, but I cannot live outside Kenya, even for a job.
Now, let's talk about...
I think I like that. We are talking the future governor of Baringo.
Future governor of Baringo County.
Yes. I had some synopsis about her when I was coming. I called Gideon Moy's office and I said, who is she? And I was told, I said, yeah, I'll see to that because Gideon is my friend.
Otherwise?
Otherwise we don't have start with that.
No,
Prof, you're quite an interesting guy there. But now, based on the, you know, what we are having within the National Assembly, a lot of issues have been happening concerning, you know, gender discrimination. We have had the two-third gender rule. It has flopped all the way from here to Timbuktu. No one seemingly is able to see that the two-third gender rule is going to be implemented in Parliament. What are your thoughts concerning this?
Let me first of all congratulate and say thank you to the President of Kenya, having come from Vancouver, to actually articulate issues on women. And there are specific things he said there. That one, he wants to end FGM. He wants to work with women to end gender discrimination. And the last one that he said is the two-third gender rule is that he wants by the end, he gave some time that I cannot frame now, that he wants it to be done. But let me put it on my own opinion or perception. Two-third gender rule, which is a requirement of the Constitution, has now flopped since the time it was put in the Constitution. That's 8 years down the line. We are in the 9th year. And even in the Parliament, it is 4 times that it has failed. And let me tell you something, it will continue failing. That particular part of the Constitution has no political goodwill of both arms of this government, the three arms. I can tell you the executive is not ready for it. That's from what I'm seeing. Then from even the legislative house is not even ready for it. And so for real, to that gender rule, this is a referendum question. We are not going to see it before we go for referendum. And what we have decided as women, it was wrong at first to take to that gender rule to be a women issue. To that, it is a gender issue.
You know, there is the gender discrimination all.
But what is there, the way people have put it, it is like it's a women issue. Actually, it's
is
not.
it?
It is not. To that gender rule, gender is both sexes.
But now when it comes to Mwinzi's appointment, some are saying that it is because she's a woman, that's why we are debating about.
No, when you talk of discrimination, you know, we have to separate. To that gender rule is another bit that is concerning both men and women. When we talk of gender discrimination, that one is true, it is there. We cannot dispute. But what I'm saying, as women of this country, it is now not time to still cry about to that gender rule. We have come far away from those. We need to go to elective positions, whichever, by working for it. Crying to be given, we should forget about it. Let's fight with men. Let's actually compete with them. Because if it is power, we've been empowered, we've been given education, some of us have resources. Let's go and ask the public. The perception has changed. We are accepted in the community, and we have seen many examples. And the numbers of women in parliament is growing day by day. At the moment, we have more single constituency women elected than ever before. And even we are feeling, come next election time, we may have more. So what we are saying to the women of this country, stop continuing feeling weak. You are strong enough now. Wake up to your foot. Let's go compete.
No, the women are not competing to some point.
No,
even
of course.
There is something that Honorable Millie Dambo said in Parliament that stirred up a lot of debate, that there are some people who their work, they are doing legislation on other things that they are not supposed to be doing. And she said, in her own words, that these are the reasons why women are not coming up to vie for seats in you know, as members of parliament, in leadership as a country. And this is why even now we are debating about Mwinzi's nomination here.
And what you are saying is this. Actually, I know the environment, the platform is not the same for women and men.
Not the same.
It's not the same. When you are coming up to compete for a position, the woman has to work 100 times harder than a man. The reason is just very simple. The first one is the cultural, traditional practice and the beliefs that we have on women. That is the first footage that is actually very difficult to come out of. Because when a woman stands for a position to be elected, the first question that people ask, is she married?
Is she married?
Who is her husband? How many children does she have? Where does she come from? Those questions never appear when a man stands for a position. So from there alone, the social cultural practice is actually very difficult for us. But again, we can't say die. We will have to move and convince men and women of this country. And for us who are in this position, it is our core duty to prove by our working and the way we conduct ourselves that we are actually able so that more women can be accepted in leadership positions.
Prof, if it was a man, would we be debating about this, talking about Article 78 of the Constitution?
First of all, let me back my friend here and let me go by example, because I like giving examples. Even in court, when you stand before the court, when you're doing whatever, you have to refer to the cases. The Roots Party of Kenya, out of 67 or so registered political parties in the country, is the only political party in the country whose national chair lady is a woman. The Secretary General is a woman.
Ah,
The Assistant Deputy Organizing Secretary is a woman.
congratulations.
And they have let the women run the outfit in whichever way.
So
I don't make
You're
decisions.
getting a supporter here.
Yeah, I'm here.
It is the political party's will to come out and say, you know what, within our political party,
Yes.
let us start by drawing examples rather than looking at that constitution. Because a woman's definition is not defined in this country, but we have the definition of a woman. A woman is a mother who carries who carries a man in her stomach for 9 months, whereby this man feeds on her or in her for 9 months, kicking her with the pain. And when this man is born out, it comes out with this umbilical cord and the placenta. He still feeds on this woman for another 2 years, putting marks on her breasts. And then once he grows his teeth to eat now this woman's food for free, he starts kicking her and discriminating her.
For
That
sure.
is the full definition of a man born out of a woman. Now, if a man cannot come and put his house in order, rather than looking at the constitution, which was written by men, masculine kind of constitution, which is very discriminative, as opposed to affirmative action in the US, which was brought in by the 14th Amendment, and the conventional rules in the UK, where women have dominated the sphere of leadership, where you have seen equality coming in. And you go to South Korea, where you've had a woman prime minister. And then you go to Sri Lanka, the former Sri Lanka, where you've had the likes of Bandanaike. And then we go to places like Bangladesh, where we've had women leaders, and India. Then we need the Uigurs of this country to come up and stand firm and take over the mantle. It's only when a woman will be a prime minister or a president in this country that these things will change. And I do pray that one day we have a woman president in this country.
Wow.
I'll vote for that person.
Wow.
I'll even relinquish my position and
Support.
the woman.
Ah. Yeah. High five.
I'm seeing a handshake here.
Yes,
I wish you go that short there.
And also we need to introduce polyandry,
Yeah.
like in Himalayas.
What?
Polyandry, where a woman can marry more than 3, 4 men, so that he can make these men to understand.
You support that?
What's wrong with it?
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Nothing is wrong with that.
No, okay, I know in African tradition, you would really dispute it like, Professor is putting it right, that if you actually want equity, let people do what they want.
If a man wants many wives, let him marry. If
So
a
it's
woman
to the
wants
woman.
many
Yes,
husbands,
yes.
let her.
Yes. What's wrong with that? How do you define a woman?
I mean, why, let me ask Professor, why would some things look very okay when men do?
Yes.
But when a
Now-
woman does, it is becoming a real issue. You
Now
want even to die, even you're almost collapsing yourself. What is wrong with it?
And that's the question. Is there anything wrong with it? Huh? Is there anything wrong with it? But now let's wind up on this.
Let me
because
ask you,
we
do you
want
love
to-
women?
Yeah, we do. We do love women.
You
we
do
do love
love,
women.
yeah?
But it's not about me. It's about you. Now, there is a tweet by Miguna as we, we shift gears. We're wrapping this discussion up. I was born in Kenya. Mwende Mwizi was born in the USA. I went to school up to university and was exiled in 1988. Mwinzi went to school in the USA, worked and lived there most of her life.
Yes.
I have fought for freedom. Mwinzi has been appointed ambassador. I've been forced into exile. What are your thoughts concerning this? Now here Miguna is comparing himself with Mwinzi. Now here, what are your thoughts?
He's entitled to his complaint and comparison. And for me, to that point, it depends on the interests of the time and his personal, I can't know, because also I'm not from the school of thought where those things happened. But with whatever grounds that made them happen, I think those people who made those decisions, plus Miguna himself, could be knowing better. I don't.
I'm Miguna's lawyer.
I distance myself from it.
I'm one of Miguna's lawyers, and I cannot discuss that matter because the matter is still in court.
Wow. Now, I want us to take a look at something that happened across along the weekend with the deputy president making statements, and this is what he had to say.
Deputy President William Ruto was in Oljororok, Nyandarua County, a day after Mount Kenya elders met in neighboring Nyeri County and declared they owed him no political debt. Political leadership from the region setting the ball rolling, dismissing yesterday's declaration by the Kikuyu elders, insisting the region was firmly behind William Ruto's succession plan.
Tunasema hizo pronouncements ambazo walifanya jana ni dead on arrival. Hiyo story hakuna na hakuna. Sisi tuko nyuma ya Rais Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta na pronouncement zake ya kwamba 2022 Kenya yote kuanzia Lamu kwenda mpaka kule Turkana tuko nyuma ya mmoja tu ambaye ni William Samoei. Mimi Mheshimiwa Naibu wa Rais, tumetembea na wewe tangu 2013, 6 years now, na ninaamini yale maombi tuliomba 2013.
Tungetaka watu wawache kutumia wazee vibaya. Kazi ya wazee si mambo ya siasa, ni mambo ya utamaduni na mambo yetu na mila zetu. The work of elders is to give guidance on cultural and traditional matters, the issues of the boy child. We have excessive issues of suicide, na hiyo ndio mambo ambaye wakitusaidia naye.
Sisi tumedecide and we are decided ati sisi tuko nyuma yako kidete.
2017 tena akakuwa mzuri zaidi, si ndio? Lakini hao manabii wa uongo wanataka kutuambia sasa venye tumefuka 2018 sasa ameanza kukua mbaya.
The Deputy President interpreted yesterday's meeting as a machination by some politicians who want to misuse the senior citizens.
Mimi nataka niwaulize wale ambao wanataka kutumia wazee wetu vibaya, niwaambie hiyo mambo ya madeni, mimi nilishawajibu ya kwamba mimi sidai deni kwa mtu ama jamii ama sehemu yoyote ya Kenya.
The second in command maintains no community owes him anything, but rather it is the political leaders who ought to deliver services to Kenyans. Kevin Washira, Chanoa News.
All right, that is the Deputy President who maintains that no community owes him any political debt in the wake of, the veiled attacks of, on his personality by the Kikuyu Council of Elders. Speaking, the Deputy President dismissed claims that, he is owed anything. And he said that there was no political debt between him and the President, and that the only debt he knew was that of the national debt and the one of the development that the Jubilee government promised to Kenyans. That is the only debt he knows that he owes Kenyans. Well, and this morning in studio, I'm now joined by Daniel Kibet, political analyst.
Thank you.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much.
All right, and we had, from the beginning, we started with Gladwell Choriot, Honorable Women Representative of Baringo County, and towards my extreme left, Professor George Wajakoya, Roots Party leader. Now, I would like you to start with your comments concerning what the Deputy President said. What are your thoughts?
True, no one owes the Deputy President anything, but also it's so painful that as a country, 2019, we're still discussing politics. There are bigger issues that as a country we need to discuss. One, there's inflation that's about to come, courtesy of demonetization of funds. As a leader, he should come up, they should be discussing on ways that they're put in place to curb that incidence of inflation. Also, we have an issue of Big Four agenda. As a Deputy President, considering presidency is paired, they know very well they haven't achieved even 3% of the Big Four agenda. So those are the issues that he should be starting addressing and saying, our KPI was this one, the previous year, on the Big Four agenda. We are trying to achieve this one. This is the amount of money that we have set aside. Not discussing on how he'll become president in 2022, and yet, when you are the Deputy President, you're not able to achieve what you had promised the country.
Your thoughts on this?
Actually, I want to echo what he's saying. It's unfortunate. Currently, this country, the rate of unemployment is a time bomb. The youth of this country, even with their masters, with their certificates, with their diplomas, degrees, some of them are matatu touts, some of them are taxi drivers, They are just wondering when they hear us discussing about being elected the following day. Like somebody said, I want to echo a politician who said yesterday, those ones who are going around asking for votes, I tell Kenyans, give them those votes for now and let's see whether what they want to become. Because the time we want votes is 2022 and it has not come. And like what he's saying, right now we are indebted, left, right, center. This country is going on, it's about going to its knees because of the debt that we are having. How are we going to come out of the debt? Even the ones who are unborn already are having debts.
And
So
he
what are
mentioned
we
the Big Four
discussing?
agenda. We are nowhere near.
Look at
achieving
it.
the Big
I'm
Four
just
agenda.
2 days old from coming. We went to Bangkok to discuss UHC. UHC is a matter that is actually hitting this country hard. How are we going to achieve universal health coverage? It is something that we need to discuss. Even as we are talking right now, in this country, people are suffering like never before. I'm in the Committee of Health. When you go to the hospitals, some are sleeping on the floor, under the beds. They cannot even afford, they die like Nzike. And nobody is talking about it. But what we are talking about, tumesema, wewe ndio utakuwa, ndio tume... You see, and then again, who is this that is speaking on behalf of Kenyans? Wakati unasimama mbele ya dais, unasema tumesema, wewe na nani?
Wewe na nani?
You and who? Because even as Kenyans, all Kenyans have a right to say what they want, and they have not spoken. And for sure, if God has planned that so and so shall be the president of this country, definitely you'll have to be. And let me put it like this. Presidency of this country is not going to be taken by just thumping, forcefully. It is something we need to negotiate and see who is best for the seat. I think that is how it should go.
You know, here we are having two groups here, Kieleweke, Tangatanga, and Senator Murkomen had talked about Kieleweke being misled by the devil and would soon come back to Jubilee sooner than later after eating all the money they had been given. He said this, you know, he said, he made these accusations that he was already campaigning for 2022, saying that no, he dismissed him, we are not campaigning for 2022. Do you think he's right in these allegations?
Murkomen should be in jail. He has acquired so much wealth within a very short time. He has not told Kenyans where he got that money from. He should be the last person to open his mouth by telling other people about corruption. Number two, Ruto has outlived his usefulness. By running to the churches, that will not help him. I echo what he said about the situations that are facing this country today. We are facing serious issues on infrastructure, debt crisis, we have poverty lanes coming in, unemployment, and then this stupidity of people going to churches every day telling people about 2022. Kenyans do not vote for Ruto, do not even vote for Uhuru should he come back. They have brought this country to their knees.
But the DP has not yet said that, you know, he's trying to...
Has he talked about corruption? Has he come out and told Kenyans, look, we have talked about corruption, corruption is here, about the dams and what have you. Has he told us about what happened in energy, which was within his portfolio? Has he come up and told us about the mess that was brought up by ministers appointed by him? He should be apologizing to Kenyans by telling Kenyans, look, this is the situation, this is how we should come out of it, this is the blueprint.
Apologize for what exactly?
For the corruption. Where does he get money to give to churches every Sunday? We know his salary, we can compute his salary. And I'm ready to go to court, even if I'm sued today, to ask Ruto whether he's paying taxes on the monies he's giving. And when anybody comes up with this kind of scrupulous, what is it? The one is taken to parliament, that they should, that is interfering with the church and worship. And what we need Ruto to do is, today I brought you 20 million. This is where I got it from. Nimeuza kuku na mayai, nimeuza maziwa, nimepata hii. And I'm telling him in plain view, let's not lie to Kenyans. Let also the churches have the responsibility. Let's look at Bishop Sapit of the Anglican Bishop, with what he has said. Churches have become dens of corruption. They have become dens of Satan. All the churches that are accepting this money will go to hell.
And that is a question here. Who goes to hell? Who goes to heaven? And then,
It's God who knows.
God knows.
Yes.
And I would like you to be part of this conversation. Tell us what you think about this. The hashtag to use is Good Morning Kenya. What are your thoughts? The hashtag, even as you continue, make sure that you tag us at KBC Television, at Jane Ombui, and at myself, Ram Aguko. Remember, come and share during this interview, during this broadcast, and neither mine nor that of the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation. Back to you.
Yes.
When you say that we are not achieving the Big Four agenda, do you think at some point it will ever be, you know, achieved? Now we have a couple of years to, you know, the end of the term of the presidency. The president, you know, he's working. We have had trips. You said you traveled with regards to the UHC. Will it ever be achieved? And you know, we have had leaders who at some point have made accusations, and we will talk about that in a bit.
On my end, I don't think we'll ever achieve. Maybe if the best we can do is maybe 30%. Reason being, let's look at the budget. Our budget is 3-point-something trillion that will be tabled to Parliament on Thursday. The amount of money that has been allocated for Big Four is 450. 450 out of 3.0-something is not a good number to allocate for the Big Four agenda. That's one. Let's look at the project management. Those Big Four agenda, health, manufacturing, housing, they have project milestones. If you look at the project milestone, none, even 1% of those project milestones has started or has been completed. For example, if you look at the housing project, they're supposed to have been commissioned at the Pangani and other areas in Nairobi. None has even started. So if you look at it, if we are going to achieve that Big Four agenda, we will not.
Will not.
The president should have done simple thing.
There are some members. Okay, what would he have done?
It's so simple. Fight corruption first, then leave someone will come and succeed after you to implement the Big Four agenda. But you cannot implement the Big Four agenda while you still have a corrupt country.
So we do away with the Big Four agenda.
Yeah.
Focus on corruption.
That's the only thing that you can achieve in this.
Even the judicial system has been accused of being corrupt.
Remember? If I can get a chance to talk with the president, there is something he has already achieved. He has already achieved uniting Kenyans. That one he has achieved.
Through the handshake?
Through the handshake.
Which some people still reject?
Some people still reject because some people actually prosper when things are not good. They use that platform to get their names high. But now, that one I should tell, the president should be told he has already achieved. That's an achievement. To make the country to be one, that's an achievement. And if you see the way I'm dressed today, I'm an embrace woman. I'm really supporting the handshake because it is what has brought the stability we are seeing. The second one is that you will achieve so easily is the one he's saying, corruption. Fight corruption. If he actually succeeds and we support him to fight corruption to the fullest, despite the fact that there are some people, when you mention corruption, they just refer it to themselves. They have made corruption to be one of their synonyms. You just wonder why when you say corruption, somebody feels maybe infringed into his rights or her rights. The other one that he can try to some 30%.
Try.
Yes, it is not easy. It is not easy. Let's tell ourselves the truth. If we want to actually reduce the unemployment in this country, I know there's some figure that has been put for industrialization, but like I was here last time I said, the money that has been put in the budget for industrialization for the Big Four agendas should be specified. Such that maybe in Baringo, I should know, in Baringo, the industry that is going to be built there is this. It's identified. The amount of money it is going to take is this one. The time period within which it is going to be built is this. That one you can achieve because it cannot take the entire 3 years to have it. But now, if we want to do everything at once, it might not be easy. Thailand, as a country or as a nation, said, for them to achieve UHC, it started and they have not even gone to the fullest of it. It started some 70 years down the line. And I'm not discouraging him, but just saying the truth. They are saying for it to have gone to the level it is now, and they have not achieved it to the fullest. They started some years back. And as a committee, when I went there, I also felt like the way we thought It's not actually the way it should be. And the president should not be misguided. He should be told, and actually we are seeing the piloting, which is happening in the four counties. That piloting, we need to see the outcome after 6 months, that's in December. But now, we don't want to do UHC the way we did devolution. You know, devolution, we just dumped, there was no piloting, so that we see what is achievable at the maybe ASAL areas, and we compare. So for UHC, we want to wait so that we don't waste money, and we go again into debt. Because, you know, I've realized in this country, when an item is realized and the country wants to go forth in doing it, the first thing that attracts that project is debt. Those people who want money, they want to say, we have this, we can assist in terms of loan, in terms of what. So if we are not careful with UHC, we may end up actually getting again a lot of debt, yet we are not achieving what we want. So for me, we are borrowing more. So for me, I would like the president, because I know he will hear me, that we wait for this piloting period to end. Let's get the true report. And those ones who are making reports, don't make reports to please anybody. Say it the way it is, and so that we can move forward.
There are some members of parliament within Jubilee who said that the deputy president has shown little support for the Big Four agenda, the Building Bridges Initiative and other government projects here. And here we are talking about one example, nominated member of parliament, Maina Kamanda, who said that the DP has defied the president, and he calls on him to stop early campaigns. Your thoughts on this?
I think Mr. Honorable Maina Kamanda might be having his own political sentiments. He might be having a beef against the DPP. He's not very sincere. Because by him coming up and making holistic, one-sided statements, to me, as a Kenyan, I look at it with a mischief. There might be something that is between him and the DPP, and the DP. That's their own problem. They can solve it. I don't support any of those teams. Team Kueleweka, Kuikawika, what is the other one?
Tanga.
Those two teams, actually, they should not be elected. None of them should come to parliament because they have got some kind of innuendo.
Technically, we're talking about any member of the current Jubilee government.
Well,
that's what you're saying.
No, not any member. The honorable member is here. And we have so many members of parliament who are okay.
I don't know whether it's Kueleweka or Tanga.
But when now it comes to members of parliament abdicating their role of foresight, going back to their electorate, looking at the problems and finding out, instead of getting government vehicles, driving around the country, trying to preach some kind of discontent, I don't agree. But when it comes to issues of him saying that the DPP has defied the president,
the
DP has defied the president, I think both of them are in the same whatever. Because the president himself is not strong. And I've said this and I will say it again. The president is weak. He has the manpower. He has the mentality, the capacity.
The presidency.
The president is weak, not the presidency. You cannot allow your deputy to defy you. You come up and say, we are following this direction, and your deputy is reading from a different script.
But
that means the presidency is divided.
The DP is working with the president.
He's not working, he's lying to the president. Because he's defying the president. When the president is saying, we follow this way, no early campaigns, and then he comes to campaign, who is lying to who? The president needs to stand firm. He should have people, or the mentality of people like Matiang'i. I am the president, I have said, just like what his father was, just like what Moi was. When Moi said something, people followed.
On the same breath, remember the deputy president said this. He said this yesterday, actually, in Dagoretti.
Yes.
I quote, I am now the one in charge of the country since the president is out of the country and not the other group. He said, I have been doing the work President Uhuru Kenyatta and I were elected to do.
That means he's now assuming the presidency. When Moi was vice president,
and this is the presidency
he would not have.
He's working there.
No, let me put it very correctly, because that is just like blaspheming the president when the president is not there. I'm stepping into your shoes, I'm in charge. That is blasphemy. That in itself, one can be taken in for treason. Even in the US, when the president of the United States is outside the US, the deputy president or the vice president of the US is barred by the Constitution from using a certain pariah kind of language. the language the deputy president is using is blaspheming the president. Because you cannot come and say, now I am in charge, the others are not. What kind of nation are you trying to allude to? You'll say the president is out, let us wait and do what is right thing.
Do you agree with what he said?
No. His opinion is his, and he's entitled to it.
Yes.
For me, I want to ask a simple question. By the way, it reminds me, who is the deputy president or the vice president of Uganda? Because I don't know.
I also don't know.
I don't know it.
Who is the vice president to Tanzania? Because we are in East Africa, we ought to know, but apparently I don't know.
Yeah.
What is unique here in Kenya?
What is unique in Kenya?
I stop it at that.
I think what's unique in Kenya is very simple. Presidents, I think, in the other East African countries, they are appointed by the president. In our country, they are elected together. Presidency is paired. In other country, it's assumed presidency is one. So by the fact that they are appointed by the president, they have to respect the president.
But you know, this
on that note,
yeah.
On that note, who is the deputy governor of Kiambu? Who is the deputy governor of Nyeri? Because they are in the same constitutional.
But you see, like Kiambu, that's a good example.
Kiambu
they are reading on different pages. Reason being, they were elected together.
Yes.
But assuming that I appointed you, then you'll have to respect me. It's common sense. You'll have to respect me.
And in the case that one leader is not there, the person who, second in command takes the roles and the responsibilities.
But you don't have to pronounce.
Yeah.
Surely, the language of the Constitution is very clear. The language of the presidency is very clear. You cannot assume unless you're sworn in. You cannot assume unless the Constitution is followed. That only happens when the president is demised or incapacitated. But while the president is alive, whether in the country or out of the country, the seat of the president, and you remember when Raila Odinga sat on Ruto's seat the other day, you know what happened. The seat of the presidency, the president, the president, not two, has to be respected. And if I was advising...
It's a symbol of unity.
Yes, if I was advising Uhuru today, people will have trouble. You cannot assume.
Why are you bashing the deputy president?
You cannot assume that now
they go together.
Remember,
they go together.
Yeah. You are the president, you have not been sworn.
You are not bashing.
You don't just... I'm not bashing, but I'm telling you.
Everyone, online, members of parliament, they're saying, the deputy president is not doing the work. He's not supporting the president there.
Look at Moi. He's still alive, and God has given him a lot of wisdom to live until today. Even though he did wrong, I was one of those who were jailed under his regime. But I still respect this man. Moi will not even for a single day. Moi will not even for a single day assume the president or even move near the president. Because he was the deputy president. Alikuwa mnyenyekevu, mtiifu, mzee wa maana, until he became the president. It's when people heard, oh, so we have a president known as Moi. But had he been singing, I'm going to fight Kenyatta. I am going to fight Kenyatta. Come on, common sense.
They were together,
yes,
rallying behind.
We know him well.
But with what we see now, this is a gameplay. That's why we have a game plan for 2022, to have Kenya come back to legitimacy and authority. Kenya is not respected today. The ambassadors are making noise every day about the presidency and corruption. Come on.
Ram, we normally say in is it 47 or 48 laws of power? Never overshadow your master. For you to ascend into power, that's the basic law that you need to follow. But the fact that the president started campaigning so early, if he doesn't become the president, and I repeat, if he doesn't become the president, he's the one who caused it. It's no one who caused it, he's the one who caused it. You know, Ram, if you're my CEO,
the reason for his own downfall.
Yeah, if you're my CEO, there's no way I'll start showing my interest to your seat, and you're still sitting on that seat.
Let me put it like this. The women MP of Baringo. Yeah. Next to there, we have a coordinator and I have a manager. If today my manager starts going around and saying, I brought this project, I've done this, you think I'll wait?
You will not wait. You will act immediately.
What am I waiting for?
Now, there is this aspect of, Maina Kamada said that his rhetoric, referring to the DP, that he's a son of a peasant, is neither here nor there. He claims that he had no shoes while he was in school, but I want to tell him that some of us could not afford even shirts that we do not, but we do not seek sympathy out of it.
Can I answer that question before I leave? I was a chokora. I was a grave digger. I worked in the morgue. I lived on the streets. I was picked up from the streets by Indians.
But,
and then finally, J.J. Kamodo helped me, and I became a police constable. I became a police inspector. I went through that. Do I need to sing about where I'm coming from?
But you just told us.
But I'm just referring responding to that. Who was my father? Let me say who was my father and who was Ruto's father. At least he had some 25 cows. He had land. Therefore, it might have been by choice or by poverty. We don't have to go into that. Therefore, your past should not make the present so that you come intimidating people because you are a hustler. Everyone here is a hustler. Did you have shoes when you were born? Did I even know you?
No.
So we cannot have the hustler tag by intimidating ourselves. Let us look at the virtue of those who are there today. What can we do for these young men and women who are unemployed? We don't need to remind ourselves. If I was to walk on the streets, do you think I'll wear a suit like this?
You will not.
Sorry.
As I know time is not on our side. We want to wrap up in the next couple of minutes here. But now, getting your views concerning these issues of 2022. Now we are having, leaders from Central Region saying that now they want, to back up the DP, and the DP should also, get one of his own. This aspect of 2022 is coming in strongly, especially in every funeral that we have, every political platform that someone has been able to, get, even in churches. 2022 is the topic of the day. Kieleweke is the topic of the day. Tanga is the topic of the day. Will we ever, achieve the agenda that has been put in place as a nation by the presidency in terms of the Big Four agenda, in terms of development? We have corruption issues that have been there, Aror, Kimwarel dams coming in.
We'll never achieve, the way we are going, we'll never achieve anything. One, presidency should be appointed by basis of competence, not by basis of what tribe you come in, what wealth you have, who I know, who I don't know. It should be based on competence. And one, if you look at competence, considering the deputy president is part of the presidency, he should try and strive so hard to ensure the agendas that they put in place in 2017 has been achieved, not even 100% or maybe even 50%. Then Kenyans will sit down and say, when you are the deputy president and you're president, you achieved this. So let's give you another term so that you can complete whatever you had promised our country. But now, if they are focusing so much in campaigning and church offerings and not concentrating so much on the Big Four agenda and fighting corruption, then Kenyans will be fed up. Kenyans are not like in 1993 where we used to be intimidated of who will vote and who will not vote for. Now we are educated, we are enlightened. We'll vote and look, and you told us you'll build for us 5 stadiums. Where are the 5 stadiums? You told us you'll achieve UHC. People are dying out of malaria, cholera, and the likes. So why should we vote you in?
Remember, we are having Chesa who has hinted on, to ditch the deputy president for Musalia Mudavadi.
Whatever comes, people go, it doesn't matter.
Seemingly Mudavadi is going to gain supporters from...
No. But we'll look at his competency base.
You're saying no? We are having our final words on this, yes.
I come from the same place with Rashid Mohammed. I have spoken to Rashid Mohammed. I've supported him when he was being appointed and lavished. But whatever he says is his own. We cannot come here and try to play hypocrisy. I am from Matungu, so is Rashid. But he has a legitimate right to support whoever he wants. One thing I have to caution my brother Rashid is he should not come up with the language of saying that I'll use all the resources. Well, during Moi's time, when the Kamba community rebelled, they said, ata hiyo mahindi yako, kaa nayo, tukae na njaa yetu. So let us not take Kenyans for granted. We are not in that yumba-yumba kind of politics. I'm sorry.
Your thoughts on this? 2022.
Okay, one thing that we actually are forgetting is that 2022 is not today evening, or even it is not lunch hour today. It is long time to discuss we are even forgetting to ask God to take us to that place. You know, the way we say, God willing, tomorrow let's meet.
Yeah.
We even don't put that to God. Some people have a guarantee that they'll be alive in 2022. Nobody knows. Let's wait to God to give us that life.
Even Atoli says no one knows whether they'll be alive in 2022.
Nobody knows.
But he is sure the name of the DP will not be known.
So the issue, the question, let me tell you guys, Professor, let's help this country. The way to go, let's go for referendum, and the presidency position should be a one-term thing, to lengthen the years and be a one, so that we don't fight every year. Because these things, if we continue like this, we are putting this country in a very low level, and we are going to finish this country. And I want to talk like as a mother. I have children, and even before I talk of grandchildren, already my children, I'm wondering where they will go, where they'll get a job. Now what will happen with my grandchildren? So the question is, can we think of this generation, can we think of the people we have served in this country? Because if we don't actually change the thinking and the attitude, it is only about power and money. And now some people are thinking they have to buy everyone so that they can get to where they want to go.
Which will work.
It won't work. And we will make it not to work.
And some of them are going to jail.
We will not make it to work.
In the words of Manyora, Professor Manyora, some people will be in jail very soon. Keep on stealing, your time is coming. We have seen presidents who have stolen and stolen. We can start with Brazil, where one of the presidents is in jail. We can go to India, we can go to Israel. You can steal, but for how long? You'll end up in jail.
And I want to tell Kenyans, the money you are given in bits is initially your own money. So when you are given 100 shillings, don't clap your hands.
Zile nipatie kitu kidogo kidogo hizo.
So be careful, because if you continue embracing people because they are bringing you money, remember it's your own wealth that has been put into one person's pocket.
Amen.
In her own words, that is Gladwell Cheruiyot, women representative from Baringo County. She says, let's go for referendum. No. 20 referendum. I have been joined also by Daniel Kibet, political analyst, and towards my extreme left, Professor George Wajakoya, the Roots party leader, who says he's vying for presidency in 2022.
And he's saying women should be given position. I really clap for him.
You clap
He's
for
a
him.
man to really watch closely.
Yes, and I'm coming to your constituency if you invite me.
Yes, welcome.
To bring something for girls' school. Girl children.
No, bring the number
I've
now.
done that.
Are we being seen already?
We will share, we will share.
I'll be there.
I'll do that.
Keep it here, KBC Channel 1. Remember the hashtag is Good Morning Kenya on Twitter, at KBC Television, at Jane Wambui. Tag me also at Ram Aguko. What are your thoughts concerning these Eyes on Politics ends now? Remember, a leader, this is what a wise man once said, that a leader is someone who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. And that is the question. As a country, do we have such kind of leadership? Keep it KBC Channel 1. Eyes on Politics has been the program. This is Good Morning Kenya. We are taking a short break, but do not go too far.